Yeah. Always been my pride.
Gotcha. How you doing?
You just need to say, hey, guys, push the buttons.
Jeez. Didn't finish it, though.
right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming tonight. I'll call to order the Blythewood Town Council meeting at the Manor. Today is Monday, April 25th. It is now 6 p.m. Ms. Cowan, please conduct roll call.
Mayor Franklin.
I'm here.
Councilman Bowman.
Present.
Councilman Brock.
Here.
Councilman Griffin.
Present.
Councilman McHenry.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum. So, Ms. Cowan, was a notification and posting of tonight's meeting agenda completed in accordance with state law? Thank you very much. Gentlemen, before you is tonight's agenda. I'll be looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve is presented.
It's been probably motioned and seconded to approve tonight's agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The agenda is approved. Please let us all join Councilman Donald Brock with tonight's Pledge of Allegiance and invocation.
Prayer. Lord God, we thank you for this day, for this absolutely gorgeous weather that you bestowed upon our town. As we gather here tonight to do the town's business, please let us keep in mind what we are here for, to do your work for the citizens of this wonderful town. I ask that you be with the individuals in Ukraine as they go through some of the most horrific things we've seen in many, many years. I ask that you bless our military, our first responders, police, EMS, fire, and that you watch over us tonight and throughout the rest of the days. Bring us more of this gorgeous April weather. In your name we pray, amen.
Thank you, sir. Continue with council members' remarks. We'll start on my left tonight, Councilman McHenry.
I'll keep my remarks brief. Thank you all for joining us, for those of you who are here and who will be presenting to council tonight, and those joining by YouTube. I don't know if any of y'all had a chance to come out to the Blythewood Rodeo on Friday or Saturday, but absolutely gorgeous weather. And both nights were unbelievable attendance at the rodeo. So a big thank you to Buck and Christy Coggins for all their work on putting the rodeo on. It always seems to be a town favorite. Riding through the park, I couldn't help but think and encourage the Blythewood residents to take advantage of our public open spaces, playgrounds for kids, trails to walk on, and on a beautiful day like today. So please help us encourage those folks in and around Blythewood to use our facilities. And then coming up on May 5th is our second budget workshop, and I would encourage those citizens who have interest in local government and want to see the budget process in action to come out and join us for that public meeting, which is a budget workshop May 5th, and I believe we start the 5th at 9 o'clock as well, Carol. So, Mr. Mayor, that is all I have.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Sloan Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to everyone, staff, for joining us tonight, and to the viewers on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in as well. Your valuable input is definitely needed, and I'm thankful. Just being brief, we do have a short agenda than normal tonight. So I do want to send thoughts and prayers out to the officer and Casey. Keep them and your family and that first responder community here in the Midlands in your thoughts and prayers. We read about it, we see it on the news, but when it hits close to home, and I know first responder myself and Councilman Ballman there, those things touch us a little bit harder coming from those ranks. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers. I do have June the 7th, I will be hosting a town hall meet out in Cobblestone. It's open to the general public. Stay tuned for more info on that. It'll be at 6 p.m. out there in the clubhouse. I got a couple special guests coming through that represent this region, so you don't want to miss asking your state and hopefully a federal representative. Will keep those fingers crossed. Questions that matters to you and questions to town officials that matters to you. So that being all said, sir, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Pro Tem Ballman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll just echo what Councilman Sloan Griffin had to say. Our thoughts and prayers definitely go out to Casey and their police chief, Chris Cowan, who used to be our resident deputy here. At least pardon the mayor over there. I just know that everybody's got them in their thoughts and prayers, so that's a tough thing to deal with over the weekend, so just pray for his family. Another shout out to Christy and Buck for the wonderful job they did on the rodeo. Never seen so many people in Blythewood. You couldn't have called up better weather. So shout out to them. They do an awesome job. I think the children enjoyed it. I know the adults did also. Give you a little heads up on May the 7th, which will be after our work session up in Fairfield at the airport. Wings and Wheels will be going off again this year. It hadn't happened in a couple of years up there, so Wings and Wheels will be going. Car show, airplane rides, helicopter rides, a lot of stuff for the children to do. I just invite everybody to come out. AMVETS and VFW will be up there serving food, so come out and join us. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Donald Brock.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd also like to welcome those in attendance and those at home. It's a recurring theme. Recognizing a fallen officer. I was actually in Casey on Saturday at the soiree on State, which is an event that I encourage my fellow council members to attend at some point. So street festivals, we could definitely do something like that here, I believe, if we so desire. And, pardon me. It's just always very tough to read about it. Like Councilman Griffin said, you read about it, you don't think it's going to happen at home, and then the next thing you know, you get those alerts on your phone, and reality sets in. Was not able to make it to the rodeo, but I did ride by, and I will echo, I believe, what Councilman Ballman said. From what I could tell, the stands were packed. So good job, Ms. Coggins. And my last comment was, or will be, that tonight is Mr. Hastrock's last official meeting, if I'm not mistaken. He seems very excited. Steve, just because you're gone from here doesn't mean you're gone. So just don't become a stranger, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for what you do, man. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Move to the mayor's remarks, and I'll be brief. The 12th through the 16th of April, we held our annual South Carolina Diamond Invitational Baseball Tournament at Blythewood High School. I'm proud to announce that Blythewood ended up being the champions. They're the real deal this year, #1 in the state, nationally ranked baseball team. So I encourage you, if you ever have an opportunity to go see those boys play, it's amazing. And I'm proud to be this council to sponsor them, the town, the crowds they bring in here. They don't rival the rodeo, which is my segue. And sold out both nights. What a great event. And thank goodness that Buck Coggins agreed to do this twice, because we continue to bring people into this community from outside. Both nights I was there, I talked to people as they came into the gate. There are people as far away as Kentucky, Florida, North Carolina. They all come here to participate, and it's a winning event. And I recommend that if you haven't had an opportunity to attend that, the last week in October will be the next one, and please do. It's a wonderful festival for children and people of all ages. Also, my council members have already said this, the 5th of May is our next budget workshop. If you weren't available on the 21st of April, that is taped. All our meetings are on YouTube. Go back and look and make sure your priorities are represented, because we as a council devote resources to the things we believe in and what aligns with our strategic plan and our comprehensive plan. That's the way you should judge a government. Where do they put the resources that they have? Those are the things we believe in as a community. And we will be doing the second session on the 5th of May. The 5th of May is also the Par 3 Palooza, sponsored by the Greater Blythewood Chamber of Commerce golf tournament. If you're a golfer, reach out to the chamber, get a team together, come out there. It's a lot of fun right here in Blythewood in Cobblestone Park. Councilman Brock already said that Steve Hastrock will be stepping down, but he won't be leaving us. So he's still going to be around. He's promised me that. He will be out there swinging with me on the 5th of May and carrying me again, hopefully. So congratulations, Steve. I don't want to be premature. We have some events coming up for you to recognize your great contributions for many years here in Blythewood. With that, I'll conclude my remarks, and I'll move to Part I tonight, the approval of the minutes from the Town Council meeting from March 28, 2022.
Skipped H.
Did I?
Yep.
Town administrator report. I'm so excited. Mr. Williamson.
I'll keep it brief. As just a reminder, next week is a joint meeting with the Planning Commission and Town Council. And I finally have gotten representatives from the Urban Land Institute to commit to come here to present their report from last year for the commercial portion of the industrial park. And also on the agenda is the proposed rezoning of the Oakhurst neighborhood, which council discussed last meeting. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now we'll move to the approval of the minutes from the town council meeting from March 28, 2022.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Brock.
I have two corrections.
Okay.
Ms. Cowan, in my remarks, the last bullet point says she won the Judy Bender. That should be J. Bender Award. And on page 8 of 9, I would ask that you move the sentence that reads, Councilman Brock recused himself from this action at 6:58 to before the discussion, because I was not in here for any part of the discussion regarding the rezoning of Oakhurst. And I think it would flow a little better that way. And if no one has any other amendments, I would make a motion to approve as amended.
Second.
It's been probably motioned and seconded to approve the town council meeting minutes from March 28, 2022 as amended. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved with amendment. Thank you. Part 2 tonight, proclamation to honor Barry Mizell. I'm not going to reread this. I did it in public at the South Carolina Diamond Invitational and presented a proclamation for Coach Barry Mizell and Miss Deanna, his wife. And I'll just summarize. Coach Barry Mizell's career stretched over 40 years, beginning at Mims Academy in Harleyville, South Carolina. He graduated Baptist College in 1986, where he served as a baseball, basketball, and football coach, dedicated to athletics and our children. He then moved to Richland Northeast High School, and he won region championships in 95, 96, 97, 99, 2001, and 2004. He finished his time at Richland Northeast by leading the Cavaliers baseball team to the 4A state championship. Under Coach Mizell's direction, the Bengals team, when he came to Blythewood, they've won 5 regional championships. They advanced to 3 upper state championships, and he also helped the Bengals secure an upper state title in 2013. Then Coach Mizell was named South Carolina Coach of the Year in 1995 and Region 4A Coach of the Year in 2013. And recently, he was named the Region 4 5A Athletic Director of the Year. So I proclaimed that the day be named for Coach Barry Mizell for his outstanding contributions for the athletic character development of my children here in Blythewood, and he's well deserving of that award. So I will add the actual proclamation to the minutes of tonight's meeting. So if you get a chance to see him, he's done wonderful things for our children here in our community. Move tonight to part 3, a presentation by Ms. Kate Williams of the Christian Assistance Bridge. And Mr. Williamson, did you want to make comments?
Mr. Mayor, Ms. Kay Williams was invited to come speak on behalf of Christian Assistance Bridge.
Thank you. Good evening, ma'am.
We are Christian Assistance Bridge. We are like a stone throw away from here. We do food pantry and financial assistance. Last year, you should be getting a proposal in your inbox probably now, but last year we did 81,000 pounds of food to Blythewood residents. And then we gave out families of 1,200 plus families received financial assistance. And we did that within a year, which is absolutely remarkable considering if you've ever driven by the facility and know how small it is. To have that much food come through is incredible. So we put forth a proposal for $100,000 through the American Rescue Funds. And then we broke that down in, I think, page 4 or 5 that you'll see when you look at it. And I'm just going to do some brief highlights just so you can kind of ask some questions that you might have. The main amount would go towards, well, we have food, of course, which would be $3,500. There are some things that we don't get donated that we'd like to have on ongoing, which is like oil, flour, eggs, all the time. We'd like to have that. But the bulk of that money would be $22,000, and that would go towards utilities. And that would be water, electric, those things. And that would be roughly around $300 per family that comes in for assistance. Then we have $26,000 going towards rent, and those are for families that are being evicted. We can help pay their rent to keep them in their home. What we do during that time is we talk to them. They have to do a budget, and we talk to them about their income versus their expenses and how to get their income higher and their expenses lower. And then we move forward with that. We also bring in some resources, other resources that can kind of lower their expenses. That would be $26,000, and roughly a client would have maybe $600 per client. Sometimes it's less, they need less. Sometimes it might be a little more, and we might partner with another agency to kind of bring it in more. A temporary shelter, that's $4,950. So an example of this would be, we had a youth that was at Blythewood Academy, and the parents moved off and left him. So he was homeless. That was an emergency situation, so we put him in a hotel for about 2 weeks, working with the social worker. And we paid for the hotel, and then we helped pay for move-in costs for a move-in to a trailer so that he could stay and finish and graduate till May. And that was a little more than $600, but we felt like that case was warranted the little more money. And so that kind of gives you an example of how we use temporary shelter versus rent. Home repair, we have about 42 clients that are senior adults that come to us every month and receive some food. They have mortgages, and they can meet their mortgages on a fixed, income. However, paying for any kind of upkeep on their home is out of question. So one senior adult that I talked to, he had been without hot water for 4 or 5 months. And he had the hot water heater, but couldn't afford to actually get someone to come and hook it up. And so he was just waiting for a month where he could meet that need. And every single month, something ended up being a little higher. He had medication or something like that, and just couldn't do it. So that home repair would be just for our senior adults that were in that kind of situation that we could help. Another client that we helped last year would have been a client that was recommended to us. She couldn't repair her roof and get home insurance because she had 2 trees and she couldn't afford to pay for the trees to come down. And so we helped her pay to get the trees removed so that she could get a new roof and then also get insurance for her home. So it's those senior adults that are on a fixed income that can actually meet their needs, but anything over their need, they can't make it. And then our foster care, that's going to be about $14,000. And what we would like to do is help pay for our foster parents. Let's say they have a pool and need a fence around their pool so that they can take in children. We would help pay for their fence to be put around the pool so that they could take in our children. We'd also pay for the DSS changed their rules this past couple of years, and so now the certain kind of beds that they need are different. So we would help pay for beds so that they could take in different kind of children. So that kind of tells you $14,000 would be to that. It could also be for a shed. Let's say DSS says you can't be approved because you have a shed on your property that doesn't meet code. We could help remove that shed, and that way they could take in children. So that's the benefit of that. There are some lower money going towards duffel bags, hygiene bags, etc. But mostly we want to help get foster children in qualified foster families. And whatever we need to do to make that family safe, we want to do. Basic oven, fridge, mattress, etc. A lot of our families don't have mattresses. That's not something that they are privy to. And so we would like to have mattresses going out to our families. A lot of them have microwaves but don't have working stoves, ovens, those types of things. And we would like to provide that for those families so they can have better food. One of the senior adult families that I delivered to last year, she specifically asked for no frozen food. And when I got there, I asked her why no frozen food. And she said, well, my refrigerator broke last year, so this is all I can do. She had a working microwave, she had running water, no refrigerator or stove to cook with. So that kind of gives you a little brief, very brief into what we do. There is another one that you're going to see that you're going to have lots of questions on. $10,000 would be for as-needed assistance. That's not typically something we like to do, is as-needed budget. This is for, an example would be 2 weeks ago, we had a lady come in, and we noticed that every time she came in, she had really bad shoes. And we'd always offer to buy her shoes. She could have ours, whatever she needed. She always said no, and then we realized it was because her diabetes was so bad that her feet were almost like stones, and she needed special shoes. And then we realized how much expensive those shoes are. And so you have to have an insert, you have to have special shoes. It was $250, and that was out of the question, so her shoes had holes in them for years. We ended up buying her shoes and taking her to the place to get it fitted. And that was pretty expensive, but it didn't fall into any of our line items. Also, last year, we had a cold winter. We had probably 3 families that came in, and they needed reams of wood because their house is heated by wood, not by utilities that we're accustomed to. So we paid for reams of wood. And that's kind of where the as needed, it's something that we don't have that too often, but we like to have a little money here that we can say, okay, you have a special situation, we'd like to help. Our goal is to expand our services to meet more needs. Right now, we kind of have to say no to more people than we'd like just because of the money we have. And so the goal with $100,000 would be to expand, to give more. We're also seeing, and you probably noticed this too, just more people needing assistance. Just one of it could be, they used a lot of money during when they had the $300 coming in for the kids, and then that money got taken away, and now they're having to change their lifestyle. We've seen that in the past. We also saw with schools being closed so often, a parent had to stay home more because they were afraid to get a job and then have to take off. And so now that they're just now getting back on their feet, they're still behind in that. Another problem that we've seen that's increased is our hourly employees. It's hard to find hourly employees, and so the ones that they have, they're having to cut the hours because they don't have enough employees to do the whole day. And so where they were getting 8 hours a day, maybe they're getting 4 hours a day. And that's really kind of hurt them. So we're seeing a lot of issues with our hourly employees that are coming in. But do y'all have any questions about where we would spend it, how we're taking care of business now, how we're run?
Councilmember questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Please, Councilman Griffin.
Ms. Kate, as always, when I talk with you, I always thank you and your volunteers for helping our Blythewood citizens. And I know it goes further than Blythewood citizens, but thank you. And I'll say it again, thank you for helping. I think this draws us to really understand, and some that may not have understood, where your agency receiving this amount of money would actually go. And, looking at it here in clear day, and I apologize to council that I sent this email before the meeting start, but this right here paints a clear picture of the needs and the growing needs of this community. And I think it would be prudent of us to continue to help in every way that we can to facilitate those needs. So thank you to you and your staff.
Anybody else?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Brock, please.
Thank you. Hey, Ms. Williams. 2 questions. My first question is, what percentage of your funding goes directly into the local community. And when I say local, I mean the Blythewood community. Let's just say 15 to 20-mile radius of your Blythewood Road.
I hesitate getting percentages off the top of my head, so this is not going to be exact.
Well, you can
But I would-
ballpark it, that's okay.
I would probably say in the 229 or the
29016.
016, I would probably say 65, 70%.
Okay, so about
It's in that.
2/3.
Yeah, the other one is the northeast type Elgin area that kind of touches against that zip code. And then our food is open to anyone who comes through, regardless of zip code.
Okay.
But financial assistance, almost, I would say probably 75% would be a good number.
That's good. And my last question is, you mentioned that you want to expand your services, and with this cash infusion, you would be able to do so. Is that correct? Okay. Are you under the impression that this is a one-time
Yes.
cash infusion? Okay. If you receive $100,000 and you expand your services, and you budget for that, and then the next year, you don't get $100,000, is that going to disrupt your operations moving forward?
No.
Okay.
And the reason why is because when you infuse money or you have a vision or to get to do services, you have initial investor come in to that, then it's easier to get more people on board for that bigger vision the next year. As long as you plan for that on the foresight, so if you plan for $100,000 every year and you're not planning to get investors in and donors in to help expand that vision and continue that, then that's where the hurdle comes. But usually that first large gift is the most important for any agency, for any nonprofit. It's that first large gift. Even if you're doing a building campaign, you probably saw that with this. That first large gift kind of gets you over the hurdle, and then you can expand from there. So that's probably what we will most likely do. We'll also be able to expand our hours, and that will help have more clients come in as well. That's a great question.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor.
Please, Councilman McHenry.
Ms. Williams, thank you very much for the information, and I too am sorry we didn't have the PowerPoint, but look forward to flipping through it. Two quick questions on your budget for the $100,000, the home repair line item. How much was that?
That was $14,000.
And is that foster care, $14,000 as well?
Yes, $14,000.
Okay. And then the mattress, stove, et cetera?
That's $5,050.
And just a follow-up to Councilman Brock and your answer, which I agree with. You know, the rising tide raises all the ships. So if you do a lot, then people are more apt to get involved and support. How many years has CAB been in existence?
Roughly 5 years.
And it was started as a ministry of the Methodist Church?
It started as Trinity United Methodist started it, and then they had a vision to bring the community together and various churches together. And at that one point, they decided to break away, and that way more people would be involved and not see it just as a Trinity United Methodist. So they had a vision to see more and made the changes to meet that need, which is impressive for any agency to make that decision.
Absolutely. And my follow-up to that, and I knew that history, just wanted to follow up with, when you saw Trinity cast the bigger net, your support went up as a result. And your community involvement, obviously.
I think they went from, and I was not around during that time, I think they went from 2 or 3 churches to now we have 15 to 16 churches that are partnered.
And what has, to date, or since you have been there, what has been the single largest infusion of cash for CAB?
We did a campaign to pretty much double the pantry size and renovate the whole facility just because we needed it to be a welcoming space and we just needed more food. And I think that donation was $50,000 for that campaign. For the operating budget and program services, I believe our largest donation is $10,000.
Okay. Well, thank you, and it's amazing. The work y'all do is amazing for the community, and most people drive by and miss really what goes on at the address. So I certainly speak for myself when I thank you for what you do for the community.
I will say this before I go sit down. If y'all have any questions after you've read that and just are like, I don't know if this sounds right, or I would like some more details on this, feel free to email or call me. Also, y'all are kind of out in the community as well, and so when you're out there and you see a problem that maybe we're not aware of, something that you think that we could actually meet the need, not a part of this, just separate, just come to me and just say, like, this community is hurting, or this community's roofs are really bad, this community looks like they need help. Can you go visit these streets? We would love to do that. So if you see a need, please let us know. That would help us out.
Ms. Williams, I just have one final question. I'm sure you remember Mr. Carl Brown, the executive from the South Carolina Foster Parent Association. They are my family, so I just want to get for the record, have you and I spoken about any of this today that you just talked about?
No, I did not know that.
I just want to make it clear. My sister-in-law is one of the executives in the South Carolina Foster Association in the state of South Carolina, and my family works in that organization.
No.
So I just want to make it clear that I didn't ask you to come here, but thank you very much for your time. We appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please.
if it would help to add to the record, you can add to the record that I invited her.
Oh, okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
So,
I just,
Ms. Cowan, if you wouldn't mind, please add to the record that I invited
thank you
Ms.
very much.
Williams.
We'll move tonight to Part 4, action items, citizen testimony regarding action items. So if any citizen wishes to speak, just let me know. We will certainly allow you that opportunity. Part A is discussion and approval to fund the proposed marketing plan for the town by Capital City Lake Murray Country using the state accommodations tax 30% funds. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. During the accommodations and hospitality tax application period, Capital City Lake Murray Country submitted an application to be the recipient of the town's 30% state accommodations tax funds to market the town. This organization is a qualified regional tourism organization that works for many other municipalities in this area. But their proposal to Blythewood goes beyond simply ads in a magazine and is proposing a website dedicated to visiting the town for events, golf, and equestrian activities, as well as specifically written articles highlighting the great things the town has to offer, and digital billboards along I-77 and I-26 bringing attention to Blythewood far outside of its borders. They're proposing to return to council periodically to provide data on how well they have recruited tourists to the town. Staff recommends that council approve Capital City Lake Murray Country as a recipient of the town's 30% funds for the remaining amount for this fiscal year as well as for fiscal year 2023 in accordance with their application. And Ms. Miriam Atria is here.
Good evening,
How are
Council,
you?
Mayor Franklin, and members of the Town of Blythewood Council. I brought along, I'm Miriam Atria, and I'm President and CEO of Capital City Lake Murray Country. I brought along with me Vicki Davis. Vicki is our Vice President of Special Events. You'll be hearing a little bit about some of that in the end. And she's also kind of understudying me in our funding process as we work with numerous towns, municipalities, counties, and the state to acquire funding to market the region. I believe before, when we visited with you, we kind of gave you the overall mission of our organization and our goal to promote tourism. We're hopefully here this evening to share with you some ways that we can mutually grow tourism for the town of Blythewood and to request that we receive the 30% funding from the accommodations tax to do so. In 2021, that was not the best year for many industries, but our organization made a dedicated commitment. We normally dedicate 50% of our budget to marketing and advertising. In that particular time, we committed 54%, when many of our statewide colleagues were cutting their advertising. Why did we do this during the strange time, although our marketing budget was also cut 50%? quite a feat for a small organization to pull off, but we did it because this region has an abundance of outdoor recreational opportunities. Town of the Blythewood, the many tourism amenities that you have. And interestingly enough, after the major part of the pandemic passed, what pulled tourism through in the state of South Carolina? Golf and outdoor recreation. So we're very proud of how our staff, our organization, can look at various situations, at various products, the expertise that we can bring to the town of Blythewood to help analyze how to get the biggest bang for your tourism bucks. That's what we're about. So we had kind of outlined in some of the other meetings that we wanted to align and market a URL, visit blythewoodsc.com. We wanted to put this out there message-wise in a very large way. Digital boards, create an excitement, create an interest for visitors to come to the town of Blythewood. And currently, our website, just in March alone, we had over 1 million impressions into our website. And that is worldwide, by the way. We have numerous foreign countries that visit our site. Even Vicki does our Lake Murray podcast, and she has over 24 plus now foreign countries following our podcast, which is another marketing vehicle that we're going to incorporate into our marketing plan for the town of Blythewood. We're going to create some very dynamic Google ads. We're going to target a lot of these ads towards golf and your special events, obviously like the rodeo that's just happened. Our ad promotions of golf and all of these other components will all be featured on our website. But the Visit Blythewood SC URL will connect our site to the town site, to the chamber site. We all get in this big happy circle together to bring visitors here. We'll be promoting your venues for special events. Obviously, it's very strong for weddings here in the town of Blythewood, here at this beautiful facility, the Doco Manor. Golf through digital boards. That will have its own unique digital board, the subject of golf. We are already in the plans for a golf media tour into the town of Blythewood. Hopefully some of you are golfers and will be able to join us for that. We have some connections with some of the top golf media writers in the United States. We will be bringing some of them here for 4 to 5 days. They will play all of your courses. They will dine in the town of Blythewood. They will stay in your hotels, and they will go back and they better write the best story ever. And obviously extend invitations to future golfers. One thing you may not realize is our organization has already been spending money to promote tourism for the town of Blythewood. We're members of the Midlands Mountains to Midlands Golf Alliance, and every year in our budget, we dedicate anywhere from over some years it was high as $30,000 to promote golf for Blythewood. So we're already doing a lot of this work. This will give us the ability to really reach for the stars. We are also going to manage and initiate a specific email campaign for the town of Blythewood's golf courses. This email campaign already has over 200,000 golfers who have either come into our region to play golf, maybe in the town, maybe not, maybe in another part of our region, and we're going to initiate trying to sell them on golf packages for the town of Blythewood. Some other things that you'll benefit from or other ways from our robust marketing plan and some of the planned events that we have in the other parts of the region you'll benefit from. In July, we will be refilming our 30-second and 60-second national television spots. We will be working with the town of Blythewood staff to come up with the best presence, the best film that we can have in that moment of that ad for the town of Blythewood. Now, the ad is going to air across the world. We are hosting a World Bass Championship in the United States, the first one ever. 30 foreign countries will come and fish at Lake Murray. They will be here for 7 days. That's over 350 to 60 visitors, foreign visitors. The entire week will be filmed. The tournaments will be filmed. When they air nationally and worldwide, inserted in that show is our tourism ad. So that's how Blythewood will benefit. We also have some other major national recognized fishing events that we can't announce, but they are coming, that our ad plays in also across the United States. And when I say that our ad plays across the United States, we're on the Outdoor Channel, we're on Fox Sports South, we're on the Food Network, we're on Destination America, we're on the Pursuit Channel, we're on CBS Sports, and we're on Bailey Sports, which is the former Fox Sports. So we're talking the big time folks that this ad will air. And as I said, it tells the story of the whole region. We're just going to make the Blythewood portion shine. We have been in discussions on doing more than just the digital billboards. I did pass out some items for you to look at some of the ads that we've developed, specifically the ads where we talk about gathering place. I don't want you to look at this and think that the artwork is kind of fuzzy. We put out the clearest, crispest, beautiful photography, film, footage, etc. We do not accept inferior product. We are going to make you shine and make you look the best we can. Our visitor guide this year will also have a walking tour, a day planning tour, and a trip to town of Blythewood tour featured for the town of Blythewood within our visitor guide, which is, by the way, the second requested visitor guide in our South Carolina State Welcome Centers. We're in our 39th year of production of the book. Digital boards we've talked about. We're going to look at doing tri-fold brochures. We produce a lot in-house, graphic-wise, so it goes to a printer and we can save you tons of money along that route as well. We have a small event coming up that Vicki is very involved with this weekend, and interestingly enough, so is Mayor Franklin. Vicki, you want to tell them about it?
Yeah, so the World Food Championships final table will be here, Columbia, South Carolina this weekend, and that is the top 10 chefs in the world coming here to compete for a $100,000 check. Cash prize. We're doing an awesome expo right there, Soda City, closing down Hampton Street, Columbia Museum of Art, and we will be having a Mayor Pie Challenge. 3 of our local mayors, City of West Columbia, City of Columbia, and our very own Mayor Franklin have picked their charity of choice. And as a great Christian Assistance Bridge, he is dedicating to those funds to go to them. Only one mayor walks away with a pie in the face on the stage, which is right there in the middle of Hampton Street for all of Soda City and everyone else to see. And we also have a video wall that's streamlining that competition and capturing that footage of that mayor who will get one pie and walk away with the whole funds raised to their charity of choice. So thank you for your participation. Huge event. It's going to be fun. I need that beautiful weather like you had last weekend. So if we can keep that going, we'd appreciate it.
Vicki has done a phenomenal job with this event, but another important aspect of this event is that I know at our recent Taste of Lake Murray, we had the Doco Smokehouse at our event. And this would, at the Taste of Lake Murray, it's a qualifying event. So the audience chooses a chef from that event, and this is going to go on, y'all, for years, okay? So a chef is chosen, and at our expense, we send that chef to Dallas to compete for the World Food Championship. So this is another way our organization is trying to help our local chefs get a name, get recognition, spread their message and their products to the world. And we're going to keep doing the annual qualification every year as well. We are marketing the region. That's capital city, Lake Murray Country's specialty. With over 60 years of combined tourism marketing and event experience, we are leaders in this region, in this, and in the state. We've won numerous awards. We have outstanding existing relationships with media, filmmakers, television shows, and so much more. And that's what we want to bring to the town of Blythewood to market tourism. And we're the ones that get the job done. And I would love to entertain any questions. If you have any?
Members, questions?
Well, we look forward to working and continuing to work for the town of Blythewood. Thank you.
Mr. Williamson, comments?
Oh, yes, so this, we have a remaining amount, about $25,000 for this fiscal year. And what I would like is for council to vote on whether to spend it with the capital city, Lake Murray Country, for this remaining amount, as well as the amount we anticipate for fiscal year '23. So then we can start working on a plan. Now, what I recommend is coming back to council quarterly to give reports on exactly how the money has been spent.
And for the good of the public, this is the SAT 30%, which we are required by law to expend.
Correct.
Can't hold it, we've got to spend it.
So, Mr.
Comments?
Mayor,
Councilman
Mr. Williamson, we're looking at, I'm looking at the sheet in our packet. We're looking at 23,225 for the immediate approval, and then the additional 31,667. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And that's just kind of an estimate for what we anticipate for the next fiscal year.
Mr. Williamson. It says that in your memo, Capital City Lake Murray Country is the only regional tourism organization that submitted an application to the town. Was this ever put out in an RFP?
No, it was just an application. That's how they operate.
So somebody else could come and apply for this money, correct?
Absolutely, and I informed others who were qualified, who are regional tourism organizations, that the application period was open, and they acknowledged that.
So you're treating this similar to a
An
standard ATAX, HTAX
A use of
application?
those funds, correct. Yeah.
Okay,
Again,
so this application would be, if approved tonight, it would go into effect immediately?
correct, it is kind of unique.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I prefer, just because we have all these funds for this fiscal year,
Yeah.
and they're ready to act, and so rather than wait until the next fiscal year, now we've got all that money accumulated from this fiscal year, plus that amount, so.
No, I understand how that works. Would we have to come back and approve an additional 31,667, or would the entire proposal be approved tonight?
I think you could go ahead and approve the entire thing so we can move forward, but what I would do is come back to you, say in July, and say, this is what's been done so far, this is a more detailed budget, this is what's being proposed, and where it's going on, so you know exactly where we are moving forward. But they have the assurance that they are moving forward in a long-term, we're developing hopefully a long-term relationship.
Okay, and state accommodation taxes received by the town monthly or quarterly?
Quarterly.
Okay, so this 31,667, as you said, is an estimate. That number could be revised up, or it could be revised down?
Correct.
Okay. Now, I'm also operating under the assumption that they would have to apply the following year for fiscal year 2024.
Yes, I think so. I think as we kind of develop this, I think that would be
And that
wise
application
to.
would be on an estimated basis, based on what we estimate for the following
Correct.
fiscal year, since it would be due February 28th,
Right.
2023. Okay. I'm trying to figure out I'm kind of at a loss as to why there wasn't anybody else that applied. I'm kind of curious as to why the chamber wouldn't apply when they felt 14 months ago that they were qualified to undertake this endeavor. Ms. Atria, you stated that you have a billion impressions in March, is that correct? How many unique viewers were those? Okay. Because if I go to a web page and I click on 10 different pages, that's going to register 10 different impressions. Yeah, okay. And how does, yeah, if you don't mind, come up to the podium, thank you. How many foreign countries did you say follow the podcast? Was it 20-something?
Yes. We have many, many areas in our marketing efforts that involve foreign country traffic. You know, I was giving you a couple of examples, but I could stand here and give you many, many, many more.
No, that's okay. How many of those do you actually convert into tourists with boots on the ground?
Well, I can tell you that in October, we're going to have 300, what did I say? 350, 360 on the
They're coming here to
ground.
fish, right?
Yes, they are.
Okay. They may do other activities, but
They
their
will.
primary, well,
Yeah.
maybe, but their primary objective is to come to fish in the, you called it the World Bass Championship
Yes.
on Lake Mary.
This is the 5th event. The other 4 have been in other foreign countries. And the families come with them. Families can't fish. So we're going to be sending the families out on tours while they're here. And in the other 4 years' time, the families stayed 2-3 weeks. I can't guarantee that's going to happen here. I would like to address something about, we are the only regional tourism office in your region. We're set up under the Department of Tourism that way. Specifically, in the state law for accommodations taxes, it is stated that a government entity will name a chamber or convention bureau or the regional tourism office to be the 30% recipient. Any of those that have an ongoing tourism marketing program.
I am familiar with the statute, and the council actually gets to decide who their DMO is.
Certainly,
Yes.
I understand that.
So if, for example, we wanted to select the Greater Blythewood Chamber of Commerce,
You
they
certainly
are also a
could.
501c6, we could.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You sure could.
Thank you.
No doubt about it.
Thank you.
Any other comments? No further comments? Go ahead, Councilman Griffin.
No, sir, no comment.
Okay, I'll be looking. Chamber pleases. Motion to approve the marketing plan, which is the state accommodations tax, 30% funds, which must be expended.
Mr. Mayor,
Please, Councilman Griffin.
I'll go ahead and make that motion to approve as recommended by staff.
Mr. Mayor, I'll second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and seconded to approve the proposed marketing plan for the town by Capital City, Lake Murray Country, using state accommodations tax 30%. Any further discussion? Then I'll call the vote. Ms. Cowan, please call the roll. Yes.
No.
Nope.
Yes.
Yes.
The motion passes. Thank you very much. Part B tonight, discussion and approval of the allocation of funds for an outside agency, to wit, the YMCA. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Similar to other organizations that have come before you in recent months, the YMCA recently provided the required document showing that they are a nonprofit in good standing. During the budget discussions last year, council designated $1,000 to the YMCA as an outside agency that the town supports. Mr. Jeff Casey, the Vice President of Operations at Jeep YMCA, is here to provide more information about what the Y offers the community, and he also has a video to show.
Welcome, Mr. Casey.
Good evening, council. Most of the time, I'm in a pool, a gym, or a soccer field talking to 8-year-olds. So I very much appreciate the opportunity to be among adults. And with kids, I'm not used to allowing people behind me. That can be dangerous. So I'm going to do my best, but I may have to turn and look a little bit here and there. I'd like to start, this is hot off the presses. This is one of 3 videos we've developed. It's only 3 minutes long. So with further ado.
You know, people many times ask me, what's the difference of the Y? What makes it different? And I always tell them it's the people. It's the people who work here, the people that are members, and the volunteers and sponsors.
The Y brings in people of all walks of life. You've got just a multitude of different people, but we have this one thing in common, that we are people, and it's all about relationships.
What I really enjoy and admire about the Y is how we really do try to reach out to everyone in our community and strengthen our community as a whole.
For me, at least, it's the Christian aspect along with the health and well-being.
I think the Y is a great place to be. Of course, you know, the community aspect of it. My family and I have been members of the Y here for about 8 years now.
When I moved here, this is my 3rd YMCA I've ever been a member of, so even though I was brand new and I didn't know anybody or know the facility, I always feel like I have somewhere to go and I belong.
My experience definitely been unique. Reason I can say unique because it was something that I really didn't expect. I got here my first day as a counselor. I was introduced to everybody. Everybody brought me in as their own, from the kids to the staff here, to even the members here. I tell everybody is to definitely connected in a positive way.
The community here at the Y are the people, whether they're young, whether they're seniors.
The Y is one of the few places that offers programs dedicated to senior citizens.
That class is special in that they might live alone, and they actually have socialization when they come here at the Y.
It kind of motivated me to just not sit home and not do anything. Use this time at the Jeep Rogers Center to enjoy yourself, to get involved, just, you know, make life happen for you, not just sit still.
One of the biggest reasons about coming to the Y is everything is in one spot. Being a parent of 7, I can bring them all to the Y, and while one kid is swimming, the other kid may be working out, one may be weightlifting, one might be playing basketball, and it's all in one place. The Y allows our family time to be very important. We can focus on having everyone together.
They are very friendly here. They're very patient.
I mean, the YMCA has everything that you need.
Whenever you come to the YMCA, you immediately feel like you belong. You immediately feel like you know everybody. It really is somewhere where everyone is welcome.
It's family-oriented, it's Christian-oriented, it's a lovable place to be.
At the YMCA, we are truly for all. We leave no one left behind for inability to pay. It is through our annual campaign that we're able to offer scholarships and give deserving folks that life-changing experience of belonging to the YMCA. Won't you give today?
I think that's a pretty good overview of what our mission is. We are a 501c3. The Jeep Rogers branch right here in Lake Carolina is a $3.3 million operation. We're looking to raise $85,000 to $100,000 for the needs of the scholarships in our community. That is 100% of that funding is going straight into our branch to provide kids swim lessons, families that can't afford membership, kids that can't afford sports, seniors that need socialization. And that is what we do. It's just part of my job, so there is no other overhead than I did have to pay to make that video. The other really neat cutting-edge thing that I wanted to briefly tell you about is I got a call last week, and the guy said, my name's Jared, I'm the producer of the Today Show. And I'm driving to the bank to do the deposit, and I'm wondering if I'm getting pranked. So I pull over, and sure enough, he said, I work for Craig Melvin, who is originally from Columbia. And we want to do a story on water safety. And he's like, I'm not sure if you're aware of some of the demographics around drownings for African Americans. I said, well, I'm very much aware of that, and we work really hard to try to lower those statistics. And he said, well, Craig's brother lives in Lake Carolina, and he doesn't know how to swim. And we did some homework, and we went around Columbia and said, where do African Americans go when they want to learn how to swim? And everyone said the Jeep Rogers YMCA. So they're coming to film this week at our Y, out of any Y in the country, and we're going to teach Craig Melvin's brother how to swim. And we also have Killian Elementary, who is part of the Safety Around Water program this week, and we have 130 second graders, and we're going to teach every one of them water safety. And through a DOD grant for Richland 2, we will be teaching every second grader, and these are their first field trips post-COVID. We've had to suspend a lot of these programs. So I do ask you to help support us, and I will be back, because May is Water Safety Month, and that's when the story is going to air on the Today Show. Be happy to inform y'all, and hopefully it's really going to put us on the map from a national perspective. And if you have any questions, I don't want to take any more of your time, but the Y is doing a lot of good things right here in your backyard. And I do not just want to ask for something. So I know you guys have stressful jobs. Squeeze it too hard before you write my check. Any questions?
Councilmember questions?
Mr. Mayor.
Please, Councilman Brock.
Mr. Casey, thank you so much for coming. It's a great little sizzle reel you have there for your organization. My only question is, how many scholarships do you award for the $1,000 you get from the town of Blythewood?
$1,000 would break down that I could send 10 different kids to a week of summer camp,
Okay.
or I could send one kid for a whole summer, or at $50 a swim lesson, divide that into 1,000.
20.
And that's the impact of a $1,000 gift.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Griffin.
Mr. Casey, good to see you again. Thank you for, just transparency. Thank you for touring with my little one through the pre-K piece there. So I'm still working with my wife to let him go.
Bring him on.
Let him go. So we're still working through that. But thank you for providing this money to kids and families. I am a recipient in the past, as I told you, from those type of scholarships, not being able to afford a membership. So I know where the value is in that. And yes, I learned how to swim at the Greenwood Y. So that's what taught me water safety, and I can't wait to get my son involved in water safety. So thank you for continuing those efforts, well needed within all communities. Thank you.
All my swim instructors are certified, so it's a national program, and we are teaching, amazingly coming out of COVID, swim lessons and youth sports. Parents have decided with all this virtual learning and their kids not active, those two areas we have seen a rise in demand, yet in childcare and membership, people stopped their membership in COVID. We lost 25% of our membership base. And whatever parents found for childcare during COVID, or they're still working remotely, our childcare programs have not come back since COVID's ended. But youth sports and aquatics have risen significantly.
Other questions, comments, council?
Mr. Mayor.
Please, Councilman Griffin.
Hearing none, I would like to approve the $1,000 to the YMCA.
Second his motion.
It's been properly motioned and seconded to approve the $1,000 contribution as an outside agency to the YMCA. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Casey. Part C tonight under action items is discussion and approval of the H-Tax final report for the Parks Huddle Golf for fiscal year 2022. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Parks Huddle Bingo Invitational Golf Tournament was held from March 7th to March 15th of this year at the Columbia Country Club. 12 teams from across the state participated, which included over 400 players, coaches, and spectators. During this week, the out-of-town guests mostly stayed in the local hotels and frequented local restaurants like Bojangles, Subway, and Carolina Wings. The funds that the organization received from the town were used to pay for the venue rental, food, and promotional materials. And the remaining 20% of the funds council allocated for this event is $900.
Comments, council members?
Mr. Mayor, Ms. Williamson, is there a representative from this organization here tonight?
I don't believe so.
By looking at this report, it looks like 41 teams participated, 12 JV teams, 29 varsity teams. So it looks like a total of 41 teams.
Okay, thank you.
Over 400 players, coaches, and spectators, right?
The varsity event.
Comments from the council?
Mr. Mayor, I actually
Please.
have some concerns about the budgeted expenses that they have highlighted for H-Tax use. Just so happens that we have an H-Tax application in here, and we can actually reference it. The first line item is $3,000 for golf. That's a venue. That's an eligible expense, I believe, Mr. Williamson? Okay. The next one highlighted is trophies and medals, which I believe would fall under what's considered generally ineligible expenses, as outlined as promotional products or paraphernalia, T-shirts, cups, trophies, awards, prizes. And the 962.59, which would be put forth toward promotional towels, promotion towels from Palmetto Shop. How are those eligible expenses when on the application, the first bullet point says generally ineligible expenses include?
We can look at that. I think that they have other expenses. That maybe that one, I mean, they listed that one. But generally, if they are able to meet if the expenses from the town, they're using them for other things.
Well, I would think that they would.
They would list them, right?
Yeah, and also one other thing, if you look on the highlights from the report, under paragraph B, subsection C, meals, lunches, and snacks are purchased at local restaurants, including Bojangles, Subway, and Carolina Wings. I'm looking at their point of sale slip from First Citizens. I don't see a single purchase of those particular places, so I don't know if they're actually spending their money in town or not. It doesn't appear to be. And there's no representative here tonight to answer the questions, which gives me pause in just blindly approving a remaining allocation. I realize $900 is not a grand material amount, but last month we had an applicant here or an applicant for rezoning and they weren't here, and that speaks volumes. So there are some concerns in this report, in my opinion. I'd love to hear what other members of council have to say.
Council members?
Mr. Mayor, question, Mr. Williamson and/or Mr. Hastrock. Is the ATAX committee is that still a functioning committee that these applications go to?
The only applications that go to the ATAX committee, as a state ATAX committee, so this is paid for by hospitality or local accommodations tax. Those aren't required to go to that board.
Okay.
But it is a functioning committee for sure. We just met about a month ago.
Okay. And Steve, do you know, the final report, does that just come to staff as a final report, or does somebody present that to y'all?
It just comes as a final. There's no additional presentation.
Okay. Yeah, I would have the same concern that if council has legitimate questions, we don't have anybody to ask those to. Granted, $900 is not a lot of money, But if we apply the same principle to final reports, we need to apply it across the board. My only concern, Mr. Mayor, would be, again, on the food portion, that they did turn in receipts. But in the receipts, almost $3,000 was spent at Chick-fil-A in Camden, South Carolina. That is a little concerning. And I would ask that question if somebody was here, so. Mr. Williams, I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but can we postpone this until the applicant has a chance to be here and answer some questions?
Certainly.
Because I believe they're requesting funds for next year as well.
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
And one of the other things I see on here, I appreciate Councilman Brock's comments on this, but you're not going to see a point of sale for what they're saying here about Carolina Wings, Subway, Bojangles, because it says teams traveling, not, so that would be the parents or whatever, teammates.
Okay,
So-
that's a fair point.
So
That's
that
a fair
wouldn't
point.
show up on a point of sale receipt there. And so I can't say that they didn't eat in town, I mean, because, we have no way of, that you're not going to see a point of sale for that.
That's a fair point. The only concern that I have with the postponement is that the bell's been rung. I mean, if we're just going to allow someone to submit an application, oh, this doesn't qualify, then they're going to amend it, submit it again, amend it, submit it again, then we're basically just allowing people to, we're going to let you keep doing it till you get it right. Like, there's no repercussions for submitting an incorrect final report.
Yeah, my only request would be that we use this final report to ask our questions from and base our vote from.
Right.
I mean, that, in my mind, that's.
Yeah, we're
what I
not
was
asking for an amended report.
We're not
It's
asking
asking
for
to
an-
show up.
Right, yeah.
But Ms. Williams, I would actually ask you to find out if some of these expenditures, the promotional towels, the trophies and medals, if those are allowable, because in the application, it did say generally ineligible, but that's not finite. I understand there may be some wiggle room, but I would prefer that you come back and say, yes, these are eligible expenditures, or no, they're not. And then that could probably help this body make a decision.
I concur with the consent of council. I disagree that they would make up answers, but I do think they need to be here to answer this. So I'm inclined to support Councilman McKenrick in postponing this until the next meeting to have them present to answer the questions. I don't think that people are genuinely going to make up numbers.
No, I mean, I think the bank statements show where the expenses were. It's just what they labeled as being what they used for hospitality tax.
Mr. Mayor, I don't believe anyone's accusing them of making up numbers. I mean, I added up all the numbers, and it does tie to their report. The question at hand is, are those allowable expenditures, not
Absolutely.
if they made up a number? And we can only go based on what they submitted on their First Citizens Bank statement, which does tie to the penny to their number on the report, which I appreciate that.
Mr. Mayor, I would also hate to overlook the fact that this was obviously a successful event, brought people to Blythewood and generated an income. So I don't want to come across as focusing on the negative. This was a successful event, certainly by the paperwork, and they should be commended on doing that.
No more comments?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we postpone.
Second.
It's been probably motion and seconded to postpone the remaining fund allocation for the Parks Huddle Golf fiscal year 2020 until next month. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to amend his motion to include May 23rd council meeting is the next meeting we'll take this up. So we'll put a finite date on it.
Sir. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. It will be postponed. Thank you, gentlemen. Part D tonight, discussion and approval of a request for hospitality tax funding for the Juneteenth Gala Noir on June 17th, 2022. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Tina Torres is Executive Director of the South Carolina Juneteenth Freedom Fest. is requesting hospitality tax funds from this fiscal year to put on an event called the Juneteenth Gala Noir on June 17th, 2022, here at Doco Manor. She's requesting $23,500. Because this is outside the application period for events in this fiscal year, this requires a separate approval of town council to allocate these funds. Her application is included in your packet, and she's here to answer any questions you may have.
Welcome, Ms. Torres. How are you?
Good evening to you all.
We are in receipt of your local accommodations tax requests.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. What can you tell us about your event?
Okay, so the South Carolina Juneteenth Freedom Fest has been going on for we're going on six years. Juneteenth commemorates and emphasizes education, freedom, and the overall achievement of African Americans. It's a time for reflection and rejoicing, and it's time for community assessment, self-improvement, and planning for the future. Blythewood is also known for celebrating diversity, uniqueness, and community. Last year, we held our first gala here at Doco Manor. I've had many events previously already here, and we honored Kevin Bailey, who was the former mayor, last year. We had 300 people in attendance. I believe we had 322. We were over capacity a little bit. We were only supposed to have 150 people for the event because of COVID, but because it was such a important event, a lot more people started coming, and we had to stop ticket sales in advance. This year, we wanted to come back simply because we know that with Juneteenth, it is really spread across the board in different cities. We're also celebrating in Irmo. Irmo is going to host our elders' conversation in regards to what Juneteenth is, what it represents, and what it's going to be going forward. Because we had such an amazing time last year here, we also remember celebrating at a couple of restaurants. I believe Scott Benny's is one of them, and there's another restaurant, I believe, close by. It had overflow from us once we left here from Doco Manor. This year, we wanted to be able to host it outside by the amphitheater, as well as still host our national recording artists here. This event is open for everyone. The proceeds from these events assist students to going to college. The reason why we do that is because we understand that there is a money shortage, in a sense, when it comes to scholarships, and so therefore we provide scholarships for our students who are interested in going. Last year, we were able to accommodate 4 students with a full year. So this year, we would like to be able to do the same thing. Also come back here to Doco Manor, to Blythewood. Some of our attendees did stay at the Comfort Inn, and I will be in conversations with them to see about a block as well. We believe that when you bring people to a different town, you also make sure that they stay in that town. We also have 2 days of a festival after that, the next day at South Carolina State Fair grounds, and we also have Watch Fox as our media sponsor, which has been for the last year, and they highlight every single one of our events. We also emphasize financial literacy, as well as home buyers seminars. So we have a week of events and want to be able to come back here again this year. We do apologize for the application in reference to it getting here late. As we begin to recognize what grants were around, that's when we went ahead and filled out the application. We have grown over 100%, from 4,500 people last year, or the year before, to 20,000 people in attendance to our festival last year. And this festival was held at Dutch Square Mall. The reason why we're moving it to South Carolina State Fairground. And the reason why we want to come back here and have it outside, because so many people were pleased with what we did last year.
So you project 500 people. I think you're going to have many, many more than that.
I think so. We believe in quality versus quantity. So, you know, we would not be able to have it inside, but we would be able to host the national recording artists, which are jazz, R&B. We never do anything when it comes to rap or anything like that because it's a family event. And so therefore we believe in children and, you know, we care about everybody, basically.
Questions, council members?
And we clarified it was outside the application window, and this council just denied funding for couple meetings ago because it was outside the window, but that's neither here nor there, but we did deny funding.
Other comments?
Is there, is it just by happenstance that you're outside the application window? Is that just a scheduling issue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you have applied for funds for this coming year, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is your event, is the application you turned in with your total budget of $65,500, is that just gala related, or are some of those expenses overflow to the downtown?
No, sir. That is gala
Just
expenses.
gala.
I have a budget for every event that we're doing for the entire week, and they're all separate from each other.
Ms. Torres,
Yes, sir.
thank you for coming.
Yes, sir.
Your total budget is your projected income.
Yes, sir.
All right. And the projected expenses, correct me if I'm wrong, fall in around 50K approximately?
Approximately, yes, sir.
Because what I'm doing here is I'm taking the percentage of the dollars and just backing into those numbers. So you're approximately 50,000.
Approximately, yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay.
Other comments? I will step up here and take some of this blame because at the African American History Celebration in Blythewood, I challenged our local African American leaders here in our community that when I went to work for the U.S. Census Bureau in the past and I was downtown Columbia during the huge event for Juneteenth celebration, it was such a huge impact on the economy of Columbia.
Yes.
And now as mayor here, why can't we do that up here?
Right.
Just like we do our rodeo, just like we do our Veterans Day, and bring people out. So I challenged the leaders there, and former Councilman Griffin took the challenge, and he ran with it. And so I think it'll be a great event. It's in a time in the summer when we don't normally have big events like that in the town, so I think it fits in with our diversity goals in the community and our strategic plan to have diverse and unique events every month if we can. And it also monetizes our park and our manor and our amphitheater. And that's what we said we were going to do as a council, and that's what I support. So I did ask him to do that, Councilman McHenry. You know, we didn't know Juneteenth was going to become a national holiday. Last year it did, so I think now we should honor that by carrying forward. So I asked for this, some organization did not speak to Ms. Torres before tonight, so it's not a favoritism issue. It's just let's bring a large group of people here to celebrate Juneteenth in our town park. So that's kind of, I think that's why we're here tonight.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir, Councilman Griffin.
hearing no more discussion, I would like to make a motion to approve the requested 23.5.
Second.
It's been probably a motion seconded to approve the $23,500 for the annual Juneteenth Gala Noir. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by
Mr.
saying.
Mayor?
Oh, Councilman
And
McHenry,
just
please.
before we vote, Councilman Brock brought up a question on the eligibility on the Hutto final report. And I see some marketing and promotions here and just don't want to walk a potential applicant into a snare. I'm just asking that you be aware of that.
Thank you. So noted. Any further discussion?
Yeah, just point of information, Mr. Mayor, for what it's worth, I actually bounced their expenditures against the qualified expenditures, and the only thing I wasn't able to tie was the tables, tents, and chairs. So that's the only one. Everything else, they appear to be eligible expenditures. So I would ask staff to ensure that I think they would be eligible.
I think so.
Okay, yeah.
And-
So everything checks out then, Councilman McHenry.
And Mr. Mayor, I don't want to vote against this because it's a good cause. Is there a compromise anywhere north of $23,000? I mean, y'all had your event here last year, and we didn't contribute to that. I would concur with Councilman Ballman. There are people possibly in this room or in this community that we've turned down applications for because they were outside the window. I think that speaks at some level here. So, I mean, you're renting our venue, and we want to see a successful event, but is there a compromise here, or would you rather go ahead with the vote as the motion's made?
I'd rather go ahead with the motion to make.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion?
Sorry, sir, I was just asking for the motion.
Ms.
on the
Cowan,
table.
please call the roll. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Thank you, Ms. Torres.
Thank you, sir.
Looking forward to a big event.
Thank you, sir.
Part E tonight, second reading of ordinance 2022.006, discussion and approval of an ordinance to amend the official zoning map and zoning district classification for tax parcel R15000-05-08 from RU Rural District to CC Community Commercial District / AO Architectural Overlay District. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the second reading, and there are no changes since the first reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Brock, please.
yes, hearing Mr. Williamson's words that there are no changes, I make a motion to approve.
Second. It's been probably motion seconded to approve the second reading of ordinance 2022.006. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Part 5 tonight, open citizen comments. Any citizen wishing to address council? Seeing none, we will move for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been probably motion seconded to adjourn tonight's meeting. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.